If Konji is fighting you, if you burn with a passion untamable. Oga, go and settle that.
Hi guys, welcome again to my YouTube channel. My name is Pisom, Pastor Pisom, whatever sails your boat. And I have today with me my lovely husband, the husband of my youth, and my pastor, and my best friend, and my accountability partner. Everything, boboe, in one man. It's not easy. The temperature hot. It's not easy to carry all these things.
My head is swelling. My head is swelling.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being on my channel
I've
today.
had a lot of fun being here. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you,
much.
thank you. You really did a lot to be here. I appreciate the sacrifices you made and your time. I know that you have
Anything
so
for
many
you,
things
baby.
to do.
Anything
Like,
for you.
I know we are married and all, and like I have access to you, you have access to me, but I also know that you had a very, 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 very packed schedule, but you made our time to be here for me today.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate
Anything
it.
for you, baby girl. Anything.
All right, in today's video, we'll be answering a question that one of you asked on the channel, how to prepare for marriage as a guy, right? So on this channel, I have talked about married life. I have talked about living a purposeful single life. I've talked about several things on this regard. And in one of my videos, when I started Diaries of a Pastor's Wife, a guy asked, he asked how to prepare for marriage as a guy, and he specifically asked for my husband's perspective. So I promised to bring my husband on the channel, and he's here right now. So, my love,
Okay.
you have your work cut out for you today. My people want to know, as a guy, how was preparing for marriage like for you? Because we got married really young, like considerably young for most people, right?
You were 22 or 24?
Yes, yes. We were engaged when I was 21.
You married when you were 22?
We married when we were 22.
I was 24
When
when
you were
you were.
24.
Yeah.
So, how was that like for you?
In many ways, I think preparing for marriage, I didn't really see it coming as quickly as it did. I already had these thoughts of what I wanted. I'm not extra like I knew the suit I would wear and all those fairy tale like ideas, but I wanted something good, and if I found the right person, I was going to lock it down. But the process was more flexible than many people would imagine. It was flexible. It wasn't rigid. I was open to change. In fact, we had a date in mind at one point, and we switched it up. We're like, "Yep, this is too far. Nope, we're bringing it forward. Let's not see an issue." So we I think it's a very flexible thing, but there are certain signposts and litmus tests that will let you know, bro, you are ready to settle down, right? A couple of them, and that's how would you then now know to start preparing for marriage. Number one would be that there's actually someone in view, right? And there's a desire for someone. So there's a desire to just want companionship like never before, to be in someone's space, not even in a sexual way, but just from a friendship, companionship, my own person kind of way. And then when when people start to enter the picture little by little, it might be an indication, especially when there's a budding friendship growing. If you have a partner, even better, like a girlfriend or, I'm talking about guys. So if you have a girlfriend, there's no other, yeah. If you have a girlfriend, it means that something could be there. If another way to let you know that you are probably getting to a point where you're ready is that you don't need to have all the money in the world, to be honest with you, and I think it's something we need to talk about.
Yeah.
If you have just enough to sustain you and the person, especially if both of you are also bringing in income together, it's easier to have a conversation of settling down, right? But you don't have to have everything. There's a space for faith, but there's also a space for pragmatic planning. You don't spend all your money on the wedding ceremony and forget to prepare financially for the marriage itself. Why are you spending 10 million naira when you've never held 10 million naira in your account before? You're spending that on food and drinks on a wedding. You don't even care about your honeymoon. You don't even care about your first year rent for your accommodation. That's just not healthy. That's not wise. So you don't need too much as long as you feel like there's something coming in, whether through your business or your career. It's okay. You can settle down with that. You can do something big later, do something small. Um, and yeah, we should normalize smaller weddings. And if anyone in the family wants to make it big, then let them put the money down for it. Let the families put it down. Let the parents put it down. But as far as you're concerned, you take care of your wife's things. You take care of your fiance's dresses if you want to. Take care of your honeymoon. Take care of your first year rent. Put that together. Make sure it's in place, and you're good. You're solid. One other thing is what Paul says in First Corinthians 7. If Konji is fighting you, if you burn with a passion untamable. Oga, go and settle down. He says it's better for you to marry than to burn with lust.
Yeah.
So when you find out that this is different than usual, this is not just you being a guy thinking some thoughts. This is raging. This is something else. Yeah, it's probably a sign to get settled down quickly. To be honest with you, I think marriage should not take too long. I know the dynamics are different for many people, but practically you really can't be too young, especially if you're in your 20s, to settle down and get married. We got married early, and I think that was very helpful for us. It's helped shape us and build a culture between ourselves that is still growing and malleable. You may get to a point where things are too rigid to be changed or formed, and you don't want to be in that space. It's easier for you to also think of expanding the family when it's younger, to grow, bear children, things like that. But I promise you, I think a lot of people err on two sides. Either they don't think enough about the consequences or the commitment of marriage enough, or they overthink it. I think there's a healthy balance to say this is that, this makes sense, this person makes sense, this timing makes sense. Let's do it. Like this is it. The boxes are checked. No red flags in view. Let's commit. Let's settle down. Then don't overthink it. Just do. Right? Meet the families. Get the necessary affirmations, and then go ahead. But those are the things many times that you will know that you are ready to marry. For me, I knew through prayer. Interestingly, I knew through desire. When through prayer, my desires changed very quickly, and my affection towards my girlfriend at the time started to grow even more. I knew it was time to settle. Then I proposed in February 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then same year, because I don't believe in we are engaged and we now wait 1 or 2 years to marry. No, that time between when you engage someone or you propose to someone and when you marry is time for preparation for the wedding ceremony. Simple. If you're long distance, it's the time to find a way to come back together in the same place.
Yeah.
Should really not be more than 3 months or 4 months, to be honest with you. And ours took what? March, April, May, June, July.
6 months.
So like 5 months thereabouts, to be fair, 5 months. And we're like, yeah, we have all that we need, like, and then more came supernaturally. So that's why I said give room for faith. But when you know that this is the person you want to do life with, don't waste too much time, because when you stretch an engagement, it may end up shooting you in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you open yourself to strains in your relationship. You open yourself to temptations that you shouldn't be in. You open up yourself to doubts, and you weaken the confidence on both sides. It's just not helpful to elongate those periods. So once you have someone that you love, you're growing with, you built a friendship, now there's romantic stuff happening, have some idea of when you would close this down and lock it down. Have it in mind and pursue it aggressively. Let God do the rest when it comes to provision. But in terms of your ambition for it, drive it till completion. That's
That was
I feel
so
like I
well
said so
said.
much.
You have answered quite a number of questions I actually had
Oh,
in mind to ask, and
okay.
that's beautiful. That's if you're in my head,
Come
because
on now.
I didn't give him the questions beforehand.
Okay.
But I want you to speak a little bit to, trusting God's leadership as a man, especially in ministry, because on my channel I've done Diaries of a Pastor's Wife, as you know, and how, like it's just a very dynamic world being a pastor, being a pastor's wife. But you are my husband.
Yeah.
I'm also a pastor, and you have We've experienced several seasons in our marriage. There was a season where we both didn't have much. There was a season where you had a lot. There was a season where I had a lot. There's a season where we've both had a lot. So it's just been a whole, journey for us. So could you speak to trusting God's leadership as a man, especially when it comes to marriage, when it comes to family, providing, and also in terms of when you have to make sacrifices for the Lord, like you did, like leaving your job in Dubai
Yeah.
to plant a church
Yeah.
in Lagos while you have a family.
Very good. Yeah, that's a very valid question. So again, my answer might be a bit biased because I'm speaking from someone who is committed to pulpit ministry. So the leadership of God will show up in a different way than someone who is not a clergyman. But the leadership of God is essential for the leadership of the family. If there's no leadership of God in active motion, you are not leading the family in God's direction. And so it's very important to understand what is the bigger story here. It's okay to have a wife. It's okay to have some kids. You raise them in the Lord, you grow old. That's in itself, I think, is ministry. So I think some people downplay that. Raising children in a godly fashion to be all that God wants them to be is a gift. It is a good responsibility. It is ministry. To nurture your wife, to edge, and egg her on in the will of the Lord, provoke her onto good works, is ministry. That should not be underestimated. I think it's powerful stuff. However, some families are designed for different things. Some families are fitted for more. Some families are apostolic families. Some families are missionary families. Some families are pastoral families. Is your family the one that is suited for bringing safety, bringing counsel to people? It's probably pastoral. And many times it ties in with the leader of the family or one of the spouses. What calling do they have? So are you people who like to meet new people, build new cultures, preach the gospel? Probably apostolic. Are you prophetic in the sense that there's a lot of revelatory stuff happening, dreams of the night, visions of the day, words of knowledge, words of wisdom, wow, walk, wop, wow, walk, wop, word of wisdom, word of knowledge, word of prophecy? So if that's the kind of household, then that also has a function. And I think it's important that we play our part even as families. Family units are the first contact of education for anyone in society. And so they're so relevant, so powerful. What is the calling of God, not just for yourself, not just for your marriage, but for the family that you're building? I think that's very essential. The leadership of God must be considered in making that happen. And so that's why, in a case, I knew our family was pastoral in many ways and also apostolic. And so I knew that at the time the Lord will ask something mighty of us to do. And the timing came at the right time, and we're able to make the sacrifice then. It'll be harder for you when you're not clear on the direction. You'll probably miss God's leading per time. So it's a simple thing. Pray, understand what your own calling is as a man. Find someone who either encourages the call, catalyzes the call on your life, or adds to the call on your life in terms of compatibility, and partner with such a person. Many times when God leads, the direction of that ministry starts to flow with both of you in mind, not just as a single entity. You are now one. So the leadership of God will go, while there's individual leadings, it becomes corporate in the grand scheme of things. So that's how your narrative starts to blend into one in God's good, beautiful story that is being unfolded. So just listen to the Lord, pray, get godly counsel, sense around what this is, what's happening, where God is leading you, and be bold enough to take those steps of faith when it's time to make those moves. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I almost said, babe. Yeah, babe. Thank you so much, babe. The last question I will ask.
Okay.
You had talked about like partnering with the right person on your journey with the Lord. Knowing that I've been doing a series, Diaries of a Pastor's Wife, there was a time I answered a question on things to look out for if you want to marry a pastor, right? And there are a lot of people that just say, it's ladies especially, I don't want to marry a pastor, please, or I don't want.
Who has
So
bewitched you?
what would you say to a guy
Yeah.
who has a clear call of ministry on his life, and he wants to settle down, but people around him, like
Yeah.
the lady he's looking at, is saying, I don't want to marry a pastor, I don't want to marry a pastor.
Yeah.
Or the flip side, where a woman wants to be, has a clear call of ministry in her life, but she's meeting people that just can't deal with the idea of
Yeah.
that on her life. Like, how would
Yeah,
you
makes
speak to both
sense.
parties?
Man, that was a brilliant question. I think for a guy who knows he's headed for the work of a clergyman and been called to do the work of the Lord on the pulpit, in the field, wherever, um, I think a lot of women are missing out. And to be fair, pastors are not for everyone. Like I will not put everyone in that category that you should always want a pastor. But to be honest, you're missing out. Especially if it's a God-fearing, godly pastor, right? I'm telling you, that's beautiful. It, of course, doesn't come without the responsibilities, the sacrifices, the labors, but great is the reward nonetheless. So a lot of people can't handle that, and it's fine. It's best you don't force what is not. Don't force someone to want something they really don't want. I've been there, done that. When someone I like told me she'd never, marry a pastor, look at me negotiating. Pastors are actually fun. We do great stuff. We're actually flexible. Of course, as a pastor, if I want to marry you, you can wear a bikini if you want. I'm not going to stop that because that's what her greatest fear was. That as if she marries me, she will not be able to wear a bikini. Story for another time. Long story short, don't force what is not. Don't force people to want something they really don't want. Everyone has their preferences. But if it's a case where it's your character, not pastors, it's because you are a pastor and you happen to have bad character. That's why they don't want pastors. That's a different
That
story.
one's to do.
That one's still there. So you need to be self-aware, ask questions. Hey, am I the problem? Is it me, Jesus? Am I the one? You need to ask that question so that you know that you're not the one misrepresenting pastorhood. On the flip side, to
For
what you're saying,
ladies.
for ladies, um, if you're a lady, you have a clear call of God on your life. The call of God on your life is non-gendered. It is the call of being a pastor, prophet, evangelist, apostle, teacher is for all believers called by God to fulfill the ministry of Jesus and equip the church. So I want you to recognize that you are in a good place. It's a privilege where you're at to serve the Lord in that capacity. Own it with confidence, be assertive, talk about it. This is something, my wife to do. Every opportunity she gets, even when they don't ask her, she will say it. I'm a pastor. And by the way, I'm a pastor not because I got married to a pastor. I was actually ordained before I was married. Just
Don't say it
FYI.
every time. My goodness.
Well, that was a time that was
Well,
happening a
like maybe
lot.
like 4 years ago.
And that was very helpful for her because she needed that. When she didn't have many voices speaking that over her, she needed to remind herself, I am called. I'm not going to gaslight myself to thinking I don't have the clear call. So be comfortable, be content with the call of God in your life. And sometimes it's scary to some people, sadly. A lot of people maybe are intimidated or insecure, especially men, when they see a woman who is in a position of leadership and championing the work of the Lord very passionately. It can be intimidating for some people. And again, preference is different. For me, it was the other way around. I saw it and I was instantly attracted. I didn't even know I would be. I wasn't looking for a minister to marry. I was fine if you were part of the fivefold ministry or you were not. You're just a believer who loves the Lord. I was fine. But there was something about that was attractive, and I found out that that's where my preference lies, and it's okay. Not everybody will want to be with you knowing where God has called you to, but He who called you will give you the person that will help fulfill the call. So rest assured, trust God and His faithfulness to provide even that. Don't be afraid. Don't settle for less. There's a temptation to want to settle for less. Oh, this is what I have. The guy, he doesn't always go to church. He streams online, but he's not really committed like that. But it's fine. I don't need him to be a pastor too. Meanwhile, what you actually crave is someone who can push you in the direction of God's call for your life. And that's not that person. So don't
Sure.
settle. Wait for God's best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You said something so profound I want you to speak to before we
Okay.
end this episode. You talked about being insecure, like
Okay.
a man being insecure about the call of God on probably his potential partner's
Yeah.
life. What would you say to like a man that is like really genuine about this. He loves this lady. He's struggling to not be insecure in this regard. Or a lady is with a great guy, but
Yeah.
that insecurity is just there. What would you say to them?
Right. Are they already dating?
Yes.
Okay. So in the case where you're in a relationship with someone and the call of God on their life is a bit intimidating for you, two things. The first thing I recommend is be more intentional about encouragement, about asserting the call of God on their life, celebrating the strides they're making for the sake of the kingdom. Do it often. Hey, babe, the way you preached that time, I loved it. When you visited that secondary school and you preached at the assembly, the gospel, it was so inspiring. God bless you. May the Lord keep the anointing burning and things like that. The person does this, ministers in this place or in this capacity or even in their local church. Oh, you prayed so powerfully. You led that prayer so well. You led worship so great. You gave that charge so well. I'm so proud of you. Just do it. It may be a bit difficult and uncomfortable, but just keep doing it. If you start to find yourself easing into a place where you are more comfortable, perfect. That is good. That is godly. Because again, this is a case of celebrating and rejoicing with those who rejoice, right? It's a case of honoring people and the gift of God on their life. So whether they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you have to do that to other believers with a call on their lives as well. And so this is one way to practice it. The second thing is you don't have to be with someone if you feel insecure and intimidated all the time. Maybe it might be an indication that's not the kind of person you prefer in terms of your preferences in relationship. And it's okay. If it always to perpetually you tried the first thing I said, it's perpetually intimidating for you. Find someone else that and again maybe there's a problem there. If it's a thing of ego, if it's a thing where you can't imagine your partner doing things in a sense that are if you find them doing things that are just bigger than what you always do, you always see it as this person will always do greater things than I, then you need to check your heart. You're competing with someone you should be partnering with. You should be learning from someone that you should be learning from someone that you're actually trying to avoid in that sense. And so maybe check your ego. Maybe there's something there. Surrender it to the Lord. Let Him fix that. It's not healthy because you are not, I'm not saying you're misogynistic, but maybe you're just not come to the terms with the fact that women can be used mightily by God and you've not celebrated that enough. And you need to start doing that. Reorientate your mind. Maybe you've not had many examples around you. Maybe you've not had many examples around you like that. So reorientate your mind till that happens.
That was such a brilliant answer, my love. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
taking your time to explain this, for walking through all these very nuanced conversations, and for being on my channel today. You could be doing 1,001 things
Oh
that
no,
I know
come
you
on.
have due, and I'm really grateful. I don't take
It's
it
such
for
an
granted
honor.
as
Thank you
well.
for having me. I'm grateful.
Thank
I'm
you
a
for
huge
being
fan.
here.
Thank you.
Oh,
And
thank
thank
you.
you guys. Thank you for listening to the things I said. I hope they made sense to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. I would see you again on my next video. Till then, if you have not subscribed, please, oh, I don't know why at this
Now,
point. I have done what
please.
you asked for me. I've brought my husband. You've still not
What else?
subscribed. Please,
Until she removes her kidney.
please, I will not do that, but please help me subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. I love you so much. Share this video with all your friends, your family.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Encourage, please. It's really helpful. Thank you so much. I love you all.
Bye. I love you guys. Take
Bye.
care.